Tonight, I want to tell you about a little boy who, from the very moment he took his first breath into this world, people were already quick to decide that he should never have existed. Some children are born, so the world can learn how to love again. And Trey was one of those children. The day Trey was born, the hospital room fell into a heavy silence. The doctors looked at him with worry, even despair in their eyes. They said his life was not viable. They said he had an extremely rare syndrome that caused severe abnormalities in his face and neurological development. They said he probably would not survive. And then, someone even considered stopping life support for that little boy, simply because they believed his life would have no value. But there was one person who refused to accept that: Trey's mother. While everyone else looked at her son like a medical tragedy, she looked at him like he was her entire world. That mother did not see a case. She saw her child, a tiny soul struggling to hold on to life with every fragile ounce of strength he had left. And she fought. She fought against the illness. She fought against despair. She fought against the cruel words of other people. Some told her she was selfish for trying to save Trey. Some even asked why she did not give him up from the beginning. Can you imagine that? A mother holding her child in pain, while hearing words sharp enough to tear her heart apart. But she never stepped back, because to her, Trey was not a mistake. He was her son, her breath, her heart, the reason she kept going. Every single day for Trey felt like a battle for survival. Seizures could come at any moment. He could be laughing, playing, peaceful, and then suddenly his body would begin shaking violently. Sometimes, Trey stopped breathing, and his mother once said something that shattered me. When my son stops breathing, I forget how to breathe too. Only parents truly understand that kind of pain. You look at your child lying there, not knowing if they will open their eyes again in the next few seconds, not knowing if their heart will keep beating, not knowing if you are about to lose the most precious thing in your life. But somehow, after all that suffering, Trey still knew how to love people. He loved toys, loved throwing little objects and laughing afterward, loved having someone sit beside him. And most of all, Trey loved making friends. He could not speak like other children, could not communicate with clear words. But Trey had his own way of telling the world, "I want to be loved." Sometimes he would simply hold out a toy towards someone. Such a small gesture. Yet it felt as though he was saying, "Will you play with me?" And the saddest thing was never Trey's condition. It was the way the world looked at him. Many people were frightened by his different appearance. They stared. They avoided him. Once, a little girl saw Trey in a grocery store and said, "He looks scary, you know. Children are honest. They say what they truly think." But sometimes, that honesty unintentionally breaks a mother's heart. Trey's mother said it hurt her, deeply. But then she added something that makes you think for a very long time. At least she was honest, instead of turning away, because the scariest thing in this world is not being different. It is indifference. It is when people refuse to understand each other. It is when we decide someone's worth based only on how they look. Trey did not have a normal face. He could not live like everyone else. He could not protect himself. And yet, he taught the people around him a lesson many never learn in an entire lifetime, that a person's value has never been about appearance or perfection or whether they look like us. It is about the heart, about the ability to love, about the way they make others become kinder human beings. There was one beautiful moment when the interviewer asked Trey's mother, "If someone wants to be friends with Trey, what should they do?" And she simply answered, "Come over and say hello. That's all. No pity, no fear, no judgmental questions. Just a hello, just an acknowledgement that says, you belong in this world." People often think children with special needs are the ones who need saving, but sometimes they are the ones saving what is left of humanity inside us. Trey changed many people, not through grand speeches, not through extraordinary achievements, but through something very small. He taught people how to be gentle. Do you know what is truly heartbreaking? There are so many people in this world living just like Trey, not because they have a rare syndrome, but because they are isolated for being different. Some are rejected because of their appearance. Some are looked down on because of disabilities. Some are simply waiting for someone to sit beside them and listen, but nobody ever does. We live in a world where people judge one another within seconds of a glance, yet rarely have the patience to understand a human heart. Trey did not need the world to pity him. What he needed was simply to be treated like a human being, to be greeted, to have friends, to exist without being treated like something strange. And maybe all of us want the same thing. Deep down, everyone wants to be seen, to be loved, to feel less alone in this world. Maybe tonight, after hearing this story, you will look at people who are different a little differently. Maybe the next time you meet someone who makes you curious or uncomfortable, you will not turn away. Instead, you will smile and softly say, "Hello," because sometimes one simple greeting is enough to save a soul from loneliness. And perhaps the most terrifying thing in this world was never a rare syndrome at all, but the moment human beings lose the ability to love one another.